All right, we call to order the Design Review Subcommittee meeting for Wednesday, April 24th. And our first item of business is the meeting minutes, which Commissioner Cranley weren't here.
I will abstain from.
Okay.
Not here.
I move that we approve the minutes.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So you'll be taking it for me, I guess.
Well, item 2 is the architectural review of item A, art on public property, ocean lifeguard sculpture, Park Del Mar. And Samantha Wiley is here to give the presentation.
Yeah, thanks for having us today. So this is a review of art on public property, and I do have the applicant here with us. This is the Subcommittee Lifeguard and Junior Lifeguard Foundation. So our public art process includes a review by the Design Review Subcommittee. This is as well as the Beaches, Parks, and Recreation Commission, and we are adding a ring of Arts and Culture Committee as well, which is a newly established council committee. So they have a presentation. I do want to give background. This is the first sculpture that's being considered through this public art process. The only other sculpture in town on public property is the Marine Monument, and that got put into place prior to the establishment of this policy that we work from today. So it is it's a statue that honors the history of lifeguards in San Clemente. The applicant is looking to get feedback from the Design Review Subcommittee on location, size, design, to make sure that it aligns with what the DRC sees fit for the space. The Beaches, Parks, and Recreation Commission did review it a couple weeks ago. They recommended approval to council in a 4-3 vote. With the biggest concern being the location and potentially any impact on public access. Those that did vote for it acknowledged that ultimately it's a really good cause to support, and it's a primary vision of our mission as well. So I'm going to pass this over to Greg Holsizer, who's going to give the presentation, and then I'm happy to answer any questions if there are any. I did have a very brief phone call with the Coastal Commission last week and kind of did some cursory feedback from them. It certainly would require a permit through Coastal. They highlighted concerns with any type of lighting that were to be installed and impact on our dark skies policy, as well as similar to the Parks and Rec Commission with public access and use of that space. They also really impressed that it would be important for the applicant to get a lot of community buy-in, whether that's letters through stakeholders, participation and community feedback. Those were big elements that they saw, at least at face value, without a formal application. So, happy to turn it to you.
Thanks, Samantha. And thank you so much for allowing us to come and present today. Really appreciate the opportunity. I'm Greg Holsizer. I have the privilege of being the president of the San Clemente Lifeguard and Junior Guard Foundation. And Larry Moore is here. Larry's our vice president. And we also have Rick Galante with us. Rick is, I would say, the preeminent artist in San Clemente. That's what I call him. He's kind of serving as a guide to us in terms of all things art and helping us as we come up with the design and placement and things like that. So we do appreciate the time. If you'll indulge me, I'd like to spend a few minutes just familiarizing you with our foundation and what we do, and then I have a few slides to talk about the sculpture itself and our application. And like Samantha said, we would love any feedback that you provide for us today, and we'll talk about who else we've spoken with as we work through the presentation. So that's okay. I apologize. I'll speak to you, but I've also got some slides here for you to look at too. So hopefully, I can move up. Would that be easier?
That's fine.
Is this okay? All right. So this is our mission statement. We are a 501c3 nonprofit corporation. We've been formally formed since 2020. Before that, we were under the Friends of Beaches, Parks, and Recreation. And basically, we exist to support our lifeguard and junior lifeguard programs. We do that in a number of different ways. Our lifeguards, one of the things we do for them is we provide them with equipment and supplies, materials that they can't get in the budget. And so you can see here, we bought them their first drone that they use for training and also for ocean sightings and things like that. And that's the little thing called a FLIR, is a forward-looking infrared something. It's look for low light, for them looking in low light for rescues. And then if you ever go down to headquarters, you'll see a wall of monitors in their dispatch center that are tied into cameras up and down the beach. We also provide scholarships for lifeguards who want to become emergency medical technicians or go through what they call PC 832, which is Reserve Police Officer training, because they do have law enforcement responsibilities on the beach too. So that's kind of how we support our lifeguards. We love our junior lifeguards. Who doesn't love our junior lifeguards? We have over. I'll mention on the lifeguarding side, we have 6 full-time lifeguards and about 50 plus seasonal lifeguards that work our beaches throughout the year and during the summer. And we have the enviable record of having no lives lost on the guarded beach in more than 45 years. And really no other lifeguard department can say that. And we'll talk a bit more about the history of the department when we get there. But like I said, we love our junior lifeguards. We have about 900 kids that go through the junior lifeguard program every year. A lot of our lifeguards are former junior lifeguards. One of the big things we do is we provide a check to the city's wish book that is used for scholarships for junior lifeguards that can't afford the program. So, for example, the other day we wrote a $3,500 check to the city, to the wish book, and that'll provide about 10 scholarships in what we call JG in a box, their fins and things like that, for kids that otherwise couldn't participate. And then we buy them equipment like the flotation platform you see there on the left. We have people like the Godascas brothers, a surfing family, come down and spend time with the kids. And we also, for our captains and our cadets, we send them on a field trip every year to Avalon, to where they get a chance to meet with the LA County lifeguards and paramedics, and gives them some broader exposure. So that's what we kind of, some of the things we do for our junior guards. And we're very involved in the community, primarily through community events. We do these things that we call role model events. And that's where we'll bring in usually younger, but some older people to talk with the community, not just junior guards, but the whole community, about ocean safety, about surfing etiquette, first aid, things like that. So for example, you see the flyer there on the left. Last year there was an interesting story where a lifeguard on the North Shore of Oahu won the most prestigious surfing contest in the world called the Eddie Aikau Big Wave Invitational. And the story is he won it while on duty. He got 2 breaks during the day. His boss gave him the breaks, and for both those breaks he went out and surfed his heats. He won the contest and went back up in his tower and finished his day. So I said, we have to have him come out. So we raised the money through sponsors and brought him out to do a community event. And you can see, we usually attract 200 or 400 people for each.
And it speaks with the other person in that.
Yeah, that's right. And if you look at the top there, we were very fortunate because Greg Long, who's on the right, also had won that contest about a decade before. So we had 2 Eddie Aikau winners there. And Hayden Rogers on the left, next to Leilon Connolly, who with the register, he actually was rescued by the North Shore lifeguards at Pipeline a few years before. So it made for a fantastic.
Is that room there, is that in Stamps?
No, the room there is the Surfing Heritage and Culture Center. So we partner with them a lot.
Where's that?
It's up at the top of Del Cerro on Iglesia.
Okay.
So it's right by, do you know where South Coast Distributors moved to? You know where Stance is? It's on the other side of Del Cerro from Stance.
Okay,
yeah.
got it.
But Stance, we did last year, the role model event was at Stance. They have a beautiful, John Wilson, the CEO, is a good friend of mine, and they'll open that up for us to use from time to time. It's a great location. And then we do also a lot of community outreach. So up at the left there, you'll see that every quarter, Larry writes an article for the San Clemente Journal. One just went in last week on what it takes to become a lifeguard going through training. It's called West of the Tracks, and that's really what we focus on, what's happening west of the tracks. If you go to the beach, you'll see the banners at the bottom left there, which are how to get out of a rip current, how to recognize and get out of a rip current, and you'll see those up and down the beach on both sides of the pier. If you travel on Metrolink during the summer, you'll see the rack cards in the Metrolink trains, and that's what is in the center there, and we co-brand those with Metrolink. So you can get a card that has beach safety tips on it. And then we do a community event. You see Larry there speaking at an event at Costa Monica about why San Clemente is the best surfing town in the world, the best best beach town in the world.
No, this one is
best surfing town in the world. So, and then last week, as a result of a surfer having a heart attack at Trestles back before Christmas, we arranged for our lifeguards to provide a CPR class for 30 surfers from Trestles to come and take CPR, and it was a great opportunity. And then Larry is our historian, so anything to do with the history of San Clemente, and the legacy of the department, the lifeguard department, we're the keepers of that. So if you go on our website, you'll see videos from former lifeguards. Here's Alan Seymour talking about the sun is not your friend. That's an old picture of our lifeguards there on the left, and then the kind of sad, but we do take the lead whenever a former lifeguard passes away and they want a memorial service. We do take the lead on that. So we're very involved in preserving and honoring the history and the legacy of our lifeguard department. And we are very, very fortunate to be supported by our community. And so this is just, it looks like the back of a 10K t-shirt, but these are logos of the various organizations that have supported us in the last several years with our events. So the service clubs, Rainbow Sandals, a big supporter. You can see Shaq there, a number of real estate companies, an attorney, and even 4 kids called Gromscapes who do yard work, and they donate a portion of what they make to us and other nonprofits. So we're very, very honored to have the support of the community for our programs. So that's a little bit of a background about who we are and what we've done. Now I'd like to just change for a minute and talk about our sculpture project, or what we're calling a cultural touchstone. So this is actual city council minutes from July 16th, 1931, when the city's lifeguard department was formed. So we're coming up on 93 years of a legacy of San Clemente lifeguarding. Now the department we have today looks a lot different than the department that we had back then, because it was one person back then who was paid, $100 per month? And it was really the railroad that came to the city and said, we're bringing a lot of people down your beach, and we need to have a lifeguard down there to keep people safe. So the city council responded and formed the lifeguard department formally back in 1931. And we can thank Larry for researching this out.
I gotta say that few people come to the beach. In 1931, we have documentation of thousands, not hundreds, thousands of blue-collar people wanting to go visit this remarkable place that Santa Fe is advertising as their beach vacation spot. So our legacy on the beach down there is pretty remarkable. As you look under trustees, there's a guy named Hansen. Okay, his son, Bunny Hansen, was one of those lifeguards at one time. I promised I wouldn't go too deep.
Yeah,
go ahead, Greg.
there's a lot of history.
There's a remarkable history in this town that is west of the railroad tracks. And a lot of it's tied to lifeguarding, and a lot of it's tied to a third of the best surfers in the world in the top 10 are from the city. Half the Olympic surf team is from the city.
So we have a real legacy of the city's commitment to public safety, particularly at the beach.
Right.
And so much in the same way as the city celebrates, as we celebrate our relationship with the Marine Corps through Park Semper Fi. The idea behind our proposed sculpture, what we're calling cultural touchstone, I'll talk about that in a second, is to celebrate the city's 90-plus year commitment to making sure that everybody who comes to the beach every day goes home safely at night. And they do that through having a well-trained lifeguard department. And so we're proposing a sculpture. We're referring to it as a cultural touchstone because we really see it as a place where people are going to come and gather. It's representative of the spirit of our community and what our community is all about. And so we do see it's more than just something to look at. It's more a living, breathing work of art that visitors and residents alike can come and celebrate what San Clemente is all about, which a lot of it is about West of Tracks, at least is about the beach. So what we're proposing is a sculpture aptly called The Rescue, at least at this point. That's the title, The Rescue. And you can see what we're celebrating is a 90-plus year commitment to safe beaches. The sculpture is bronze with a concrete base. So everything you see above the concrete base there will be bronze. And it's approximately a 4 by 5 foot platform. So they're standing on a bronze platform that'll be about 4 foot by 5 feet. And excuse me, which will take up about the same space, the same real estate as two and a half beach chairs. Because that's one of the questions we get is how much space is it going to take up where people could otherwise sit and watch the sunset and things like that. So about 2 beach chairs worth is what we're going to take up. And then it'll be placed on what is now planned to be a 2-foot high concrete base, and that's what you see there. So the base is kind of inset, and we're anticipating that it will be either just regular concrete or it could be colored concrete too. But we think that could be the most hardy or the easiest to maintain. Although it could be covered with tile or something like that too, if there was interest in that. And then, excuse me. And then there will be a pedestal. Oh, thank you, Zach. There'll be a pedestal in front with a bronze plaque. Now, what you see here is this is a mock-up from what's called a maquette, which is a clay rendition of what the sculpture might look like, and it's done by our sculptor, which his name is Bill Leinbrook. Bill is a master sculptor. He did the marine at Park Semper Fi. You're familiar with that. He also did at San Clemente on the 50th anniversary. They have a beautiful Triton monument there. He did that. And he's also done all of the sculptures in Dana Point in Waterman's Plaza, which they're beautiful. But what we like about ours, it's going to be so easily accessible in a highly trafficked area that it's really going to be someplace where people are going to want and come and see. But the features you see here will be refined. I'll show you some other pictures in a bit. Will be refined during the sculpting process. What we also like about this, and hopefully you appreciate too, is that the 2 figures, they're basically life-size. Maybe just a little bit larger than life, but basically life-size. They will be 2 feet off the ground, so it'll be 8 foot. Now, if you've been to the Pier Bowl, I'm sure you have, you'll notice that it slopes down. So if you're looking at views and things like that, when you're up in the parking lot, they're not going to appear, 8 foot tall. It's gonna be fairly low. So we don't believe that there is an issue with blocking of views and things like that. Plus, because it's 2 figures, you can see right through it. So it's, in many respects, will be just like 2 people standing there on a regular day, maybe just a little bit taller. But in terms of being able to see the ocean, there'll still be very, very good ocean views from whether you're standing behind or around. We want to have a place. We'll talk about locations in a bit where it can be accessed from 360 degrees. And we want to encourage people, users, to come up and actually, touch it and interact with it. And actually, that platform, it'll be the right height if someone wanted to, sit there. We think there'll be a lot of selfies. It'll be on postcards, social media. It'll be a great benefit and a piece of art to feature the city of San Clemente. The target unveiling date, if all goes well, will be late 2025 or early 2026. If we can get through the city council, in the next several months, and coastal commission, then we'll need to raise about $250,000 to $300,000, which we'll be looking for 2 or 3 major benefactors to raise the money. And we've begun to have some conversations there, but we're going to be looking for, and I'll show you in a minute what's going to be on the plaque, but we would expect that their name would be on the plaque as part of their contribution. So this is what we're proposing. This will be the first sculpture in the United States that features both a male and female lifeguard, and we're also very, very proud of that. Now, it does double the price, but we think it's worth it, it's because the women lifeguards of San Clemente have, just contributed immensely, just as the male lifeguards had too. So we thought it was important to feature. And the idea is that here they're working together as a team. You can see that he's got his binoculars on the rescue person being rescued, and she's heading out to make the rescue. She has her fins in her hand and her buoy in her hand. So it's very, very, it's showing motion. That's why we don't call it a statue. And Rick has been really, really hard on me with that. Is that it's not a lifeless statue. It's a sculpture. Larry, do you have something you want to say?
Yeah, just a couple things. He did it really well. This is usually where I'm going to try to convince you how important this is, but that's not where we're at. I want to speak for Bill. Couldn't be here. He stood up at the request of the Beach Parks and Recreation Commission and spoke to the fact that he saw this as interactive public art. Term I hadn't used before, that it's going to be hardened and designed from the beginning that there will be public interaction. It's not meant to stand up like a statue in memorial of or in commemoration of. It is supposed to be integrated, as the term Greg used, as a cultural touchstone into the pier bowl and enhance the entire environment there. If people sit on the platform, that's okay. This isn't something we put a fence around. It's something we want, what the artist referred to as, he would really like to see public engagement. And if you're more than about 20 feet away, look at the lady in the background. They just happen to be in the picture. This is not a large item. I mean, a 3/4 sheet of plywood. Think about it, what did you say, 4 by 5, Greg?
Yeah, 4x5, roughly.
4 by 5. This is a relatively small 2 figurines in that area that we were hoping, and we think it will, the community will just adopt as our kind of cultural touchstone. Just so happens one of the most beautiful views in the background will be behind this when you take a selfie picture. If Santa hats end up on these or flower lays, oh well, that means it's been adopted by the community. But what it's not is it's not a statue. And by the way, I have a tremendous amount of respect for the Marine Corps statue because I have family on that wall. So it's a solemn place. But that's not what we're recommending to you. Go ahead, Greg.
Thanks, sir. So here's just a few other perspectives in terms of what it might look like. And again, I like the one on the left. The one in the middle too is really good because you can kind of see, it's pretty much, it's not exactly see-through, but it's about as close as you can get for a piece of art, being able to see through it and see the ocean. And the reason it faces the ocean, we get asked that question, is because a lifeguard never turns their back on the water. And so that's why it's positioned the way that it is, because they are watching the water in diligence, which is, by the way, Larry and I are both former ocean lifeguards, as are some of the members of our board, and that is drilled into us from day one. You never, ever turn your back on the water. But this is just some different perspectives of what it would look like from various angles. We're proposing that there be about a 20 by 24 inch bronze plaque in front. As you can see here, and we've tried to keep the inscription as simple as possible, and so you can see it'll read, celebrating the City of San Clemente's commitment to the safety of all who visit our beaches, dedicated to all San Clemente lifeguards past, present, future, with the date, and then donated by the foundation and the names of our benefactors. So that's the plan. You can see how it would be placed. We're proposing, at least, it would be placed in front of the sculpture. And then we've identified 3 potential locations. We've spent a lot of time down there with Samantha and other folks trying to figure out where we think it might work best. And at Beaches, Parks and Recreation, one of the commissioners, Commissioner Queskin, asked the sculptor, "Where do you think it should go?" And he likes kind of that middle one there, which we do too. But the idea is that it would be placed in an area that is out of the way in some respects of when we have major events there, things like that, but where it's really going to be seen in a highly trafficked area. So I know you see these locations in overhead in your packet, and then the city has come up with another option, and that is where close to there's an existing tree close to the pay machines, and that certainly it could be there also, but we're recommending that it be here because it is a highly trafficked area. This is going more than 2.5 people visit our beaches every year, and many of those come to the Pier Bowl and go to the restaurant and the fishermen and things like that. So this is our proposed location, and then we're proposing in our application. You might have read that it said we would propose around the base could be DG, could be drought tolerant landscaping. Or could be pavers. And so at this point, we're suggesting that it be pavers. The pavers would be matched like for like, which is what is there at the Pier Bowl. And then we are proposing that it be lit for aesthetic and for safety reasons. And we've not settled on exactly what type of lighting. What you see up there is the lighting that's at the Semper Fi Park. So you can see it's in the ground, it's flush with the ground, so it's not a trip hazard, things like that. And it would be focusing up on the sculpture itself. And there is access to power close there, because of street lights and the pay machines, things like that. But we have to work out exactly where the exact power would come from. But it'd be our plan to have the sculpture lighted in the evening. And then this second to the last slide here just shows this is examples of Bill Linebrook's work. So you can see the beauty of it. You can see what I like is the detail of it. These are, you see, of course, the Marine Monument and Park Semper Fi at the right, and then the others are work that he's done for the city of Dana Point in their Waterman's Plaza. And so we have Joyce Hoffman, John Severson, and Bill. Thank you. Help there. Bruce Brown there, and Bruce is in the middle. And you can see, it's like I said, the level of detail. And these are bronze sculptures also. And then, although we believe ours is going to be magnificent, we're not breaking new ground in terms of other beach cities that have similar. I'd call these more statues and sculptures, but you can see the left there is a statue dedicated to Ben Carlson, who was a Newport Beach lifeguard who lost his life in the line of duty, and so they raised the money to do that. At the bottom in the middle is Tim Kelly, who was a lifeguard and surfer, and one's located in Hermosa Beach. The one in the middle is dedicated to the annual 32-mile Catalina Crossing paddleboard race. That's south of Manhattan Beach Pier, and the one on the right is a lifeguard a statue in Ocean Beach down in San Diego. So these are similar in size in some respects, but they're different materials. These aren't all bronze. Some of these are, I think the one on the left maybe stainless. I don't know, but ours is planned to be bronze. So with that, that's the end of our presentation. I want to thank you for your time, and would love to hear any either questions or feedback that you have for us as we as we continue to move the sculpture through the city process.
Okay, well, thank you. And a couple questions I had. That last slide, if you can go back to the previous one.
Yeah.
The one on the right looks like it's patina. Is it going to do that, or is it, because some of the first slides you showed,
Yeah.
it still looks like a bronze, the original sort of bronze
Yeah.
finish.
Yeah.
Does it patina over time?
Yeah, they do, and they do take maintenance. For example, the Marine Monument that has regular maintenance. In fact, I'm in discussions with the person that maintains that, and also Dana Point ones, because there's a plaque on the pier dedicated to the 75th anniversary lifeguard department. You can see over time the same thing. So they're coming down next Monday to refresh it. So it will need to be refreshed from time to time.
No, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I was just curious.
No, they're beautiful.
What kind of
that
maintenance do you
patina's
do
beautiful.
when you maintain them?
They go and they'll, as I understand it, because I'm going to see it over here, but they basically take off any irregularities, any like dirt and grime built up, and then they'll usually put another like a clear coat type of thing on it. But it's not shiny. It's just meant to restore it to its original.
So it has a clear coat when it first.
That's my
displaced.
understanding. I wish Bill was here. In fact, we could text him and ask. He said he'd be available by text. Just going to be here today. But we can find out.
Okay.
Yeah. But the ones you see there in Dana Point, they're fairly new. The Joyce Hoffman done one was probably placed there, and that was what it looked like the day it was placed because I took that picture. So.
Where's the Bruce Brown sculpture?
They're all together.
They're all together.
Oh, they are?
Yeah. Right by. If you go in Dana Point, you're heading north on Coast Highway. There's the shopping center there. Then there's the Carl's Jr. I like to use fast food places for landmarks.
Yeah.
And then they're just north of that.
By Denny's, right before Denny's.
Yeah, right
okay.
before Denny's.
With the overpasses there.
They call it Waterman.
Oh, yeah.
Plaza.
Okay. And then there's a bunch of new Hobie sculptures.
Right. There's the
plaza.
Hobie
Yeah,
cab.
that's the area.
There's Joyce Hoffman. They just did Stephen Barry Bain, and there's Bruce Brown.
Are they going to do more over there? Do you know?
Yes, they got 3 or 4. In fact, they've contracted our sculptor to do more. So we're trying to.
He could be set for life.
We're trying. Yeah, we're
There's a
trying to
little
squeeze
crowd
the
of them
dogs.
over there.
What's that?
There's a little crowd of them.
Well, you can
over
see
there.
they have their they're up on platforms, and they have the platforms already there just waiting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they've got 3 more. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the the fact that these are a little more accessible. Those ones you have to kind of park in the.
They're kind of out, nobody,
It's tough
nobody
to-
really
tough
goes
to
there.
really-
I take
we-
my grandkids there.
We parked and went over and looked at
Yeah.
all of them, but
They're
That's
very
the
good.
saddest thing about these particular sculptures. I admire Bill Weinbrook's work so much, and as Greg was mentioning about detail, it's great to be able to walk right up to it and be able to appreciate what Bill has done here. And I think the superior location that's being proposed for the lifeguard sculpture is that people will be able to not only see the artwork but interact with it.
And these are all up on pedestals. And when designed, the design purpose wasn't to be interactive art. They're very good at what they are. I just have to mention Bruce Brown. He worked here. His history is from San Clemente. And then Severson family, they grew up in San Clemente. Both of those guys were lifeguards.
They were both lifeguards too, yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
But
They should be here in
especially-
San
I really like Bill's work here, but one of the things I wanted to emphasize is that we're not proposing that. We're proposing using that artist. Ours is smaller, again, more figurines, almost
yeah.
life-size, designed to blend into and be part of the Pier Bowl environment.
So are you looking for input on the design of the sculpture or just the location? Because it's sort of implied in our packet here that the design's already been settled.
Yeah, I don't know that we want to look too much at the design of it unless you see some glaring
Yeah, if there's
mistake.
something that we're certainly open to. I mean, this is just in clay right now, so we're very much open to suggestions. My understanding is that the formal purview of the subcommittee is kind of location. Is it consistent with the general plan and city design guidelines and things?
The lighting element is something I think
It's an unknown at this point.
It's an unknown, but I do think if you guys have recommendations based on what this body prefers to see based on general plan, the Pier Bowl specific plan, any of those elements that you can give to this group, they're willing to hear that, as well as that design of the pedestal, the base area. If you want the pavers, is the preference the decomposed granite? I would stray away from any kind of landscaping because it will get trampled. That becomes a maintenance issue. Those types of features.
It looks like the two figures are connected.
For sturdiness, for stability, they'll be connected at some level. I would say probably, where her hand is there, where the fins are, there will be some connection there, yes, and that's for stability. At least that's what Bill has explained to me.
Okay.
Everything was supposed to have 3 points of contact in a series of triangles, the way he's explained it, to make it as durable as possible.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But-
That makes sense.
And Mark, as an artist, is turning that into art.
Yeah.
Okay, so the base is meant to be kind of like a seat. So
It's meant to represent the deck of a lifeguard tower.
Oh, I see.
It just happens to be 2 feet off the ground. So yeah, it's meant to represent the being on the lifeguard tower. You can see her foot over the side. She's getting ready to jump to go on a rescue.
But Bill's comment to the Beach Parks and Rec when they asked that, he says he thinks people should sit on it. That's why it's there. Because one of the concerns came about, well, we're going to have to put a fence around that when we have our events down there. And he almost immediately stood up. You can see him shaking his head. He said, no, that's not the point here. The point is that we want people to be engaged with this. So yeah, that could be the size of a seat.
A similar sculpture might be, I'm thinking on a more global scale, inside St. Peter's is Michelangelo's Pietà, and Christ's toe is worn down so much by people coming in and kissing it. So it's not only interactive, I mean, it's very much appreciated in a physical way, and I think that's Bill's and Foundation's idea for this, is that people would be in and around the lifeguards in a very familiar way, just like they should be if they were on the beach, being able to talk to the lifeguards and interact with them in that way.
To me, everything you guys have said sounds awesome. But you mentioned sturdiness and the connectivity. And looking at it and talking about it being interactive, I'm worried about the fragility of it, like her rescue
Rescue buoy.
device and the rope and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's bronze, and that's why Bill is making a bronze is really a spectacular process, either in wax or clay, and then if you were in the foundry and could actually see it, see the bronze poured, you would realize that the thickness of the wall, the quality of the material, the size of the sculpture, the connectivity of the two figures is definitely going to keep that from quote unquote falling over or injuring somebody.
Well,
or
that was my
even
concern.
ruining-
Just,
even
you know,
ruining-
some unattended kid doesn't pull up on that rope and
Yes.
snaps it off. I mean, that's, I'm not worried about it falling on somebody.
Yeah, you're worried about how sturdy it is against vandalism or just, yeah.
Unintended.
Yeah, day-to-day use
Yeah.
will be the problem. It'll be the
Yeah.
vandals who want to do damage.
If
Yeah.
people are standing up on there and whatever, I mean, I think it's great that it's designed to be interactive.
Yeah.
It's probably the most durable material outside of steel. That
It's
built
like
in.
handrails.
Bronze
Where
is
that
the way to
rope
go.
will be.
That's great.
But yeah, I mean, it's not the diameter of a handrail doesn't appear.
Well, again, that would be the artist.
That's
Yeah.
I mean, that's just
It's a
thought
great,
I had.
it's a great comment, one that I've had with him too. Yeah, so we'll make sure that we have that conversation with him again.
As far as location goes, I would be adamantly against being over by those parking meters. There's so much clutter over there that it's not a good location.
I'm sorry, can you go back to the slide that shows the locations?
Yeah.
I want
Yeah.
to see exactly what you're.
Here we go.
That's a great comment, especially if the idea is that people would be able to interact with it. And in viewing sculpture, just in general, sculpture needs to be viewed in 360. And that to do that, you have to have space around
Can
it.
you bring up
So which one are you talking about?
Google
Mark?
Earth?
Oh, we don't have that in our.
It's in our,
Are you opposed to the fourth location, that flag?
Yeah,
right there?
that's the.
Because
the
there's a
alternate.
meter,
Oh,
there's
that's
a
automatic.
giant, I think,
Yeah.
parking rules. are
So
on the
there's a
side.
pay station and then there's a
Got
tree
it.
and a table. You
Yeah.
have to
There's
relocate
also a
the
sign that
tree.
has the
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
so
rules
that,
of the parking lot and whatnot.
that
There's an
option
electric box
is-
there too.
is
Yeah.
mostly intended if there's grave concern over the three with a view block.
I'll be perfectly honest, my personal approach to that is, this is part of the view.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah,
not blocking
frames-
the view.
frames
It's-
the view.
It's, exactly. When you
Yeah,
look
yeah.
at it from driving down the street, it's gonna be to the right of the pier.
Yes.
If you're looking at the pier, it's gonna be off to the right. It's not blocking the pier, but it's in honor of the pier and the break down there, so,
the thing that's a little awkward, I'm sorry,
go ahead.
is, they're facing the beach. And if you're doing a selfie or if you're doing a photo,
Yeah, you're looking back.
you're gonna be looking at the back side of them.
Well done.
So, I don't know if there's
I mean, if they can see
consideration of sort of
45 or
turning.
something.
We might be able to,
Turning them
yeah,
at an
we thought,
angle.
how to turn it exactly right to get the best opportunity.
I mean, obviously, you would like to have the pier in the background, but that's probably not realistic because, they'd have to be sort of looking inland. But maybe if you had them looking north, then you could angle yourself so that you could get at least the side of them with the pier in the background. That might be a good angle to put them at. The other thing, we've had, as you know, some sliding every year, in San Clemente on the bluff. So I guess the closer they get to the bluff, the more concerned.
Okay, back up where you just were again, up the road. Okay, now rotate around to looking at. Okay, as you come down the road, either of the two closest to the sidewalk corners work. I'm kind of inclined because of just a gut feeling. I'm not going to try to justify it. The one furthest to the left on the corner. Yeah, right there. That's as you're turning. The pedestrians will see it and they can see the pier and the sculpture at the same time. When people come out for fireworks, they set their chairs up all there. It'll be off to the left. And it should be relatively close to the sidewalk. And I only
So
say
which
that
flag are
is
you?
there's going to be a beaten path in that lawn. if it's just something right around the sculpture.
Mhm.
And so there should be either DG or whatever to keep from having to have the dead grass around it all the time.
Well, they're talking about pavers, right?
Yeah, and it should connect to the sidewalk rather than
That's
just
what we're
being
thinking,
around.
it would use pavers like for like, and somehow it could have it connect.
Get an honest path to it.
So you think that's better than, it seems like there's almost a little promontory.
Yeah, that's kind of the
Is that
place.
what you're thinking?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm inclined to.
So closer to the sidewalk over here.
I'm disregarding the fact that people are worried about blocking the view being a public
Yeah, I don't
corridor.
think
It
that's-
doesn't say,
I don't think that's an issue.
Yeah, that's-
the ordinance doesn't say anything about infringing on the view being a little part of it. It can't block the view. And I don't think this does that at all.
No, it enhances.
Exactly. It enhances the experience. And it's a tribute to the whole reason the pier's there.
I like what you said about being part of the view. It's supposed to integrate with the entire environment, and I think it does in either of those places.
I think the angle, the position is going to be important. So, it's almost, I don't know, is there a mock-up? Is that what this photo is?
We have two clay figurines that are sent about this. They're sent about this tall. It's called a maquette. Yeah.
I mean, it'd be nice to actually get a mock-up out there to see what's the best angle
Yeah.
to turn
Yeah.
them, because the backside is obviously not as. I get the whole idea of heading out into the waves, to rescue somebody, but in terms of this sort of interactive aspect, the backside is what you're going to see, which is not necessarily.
That's the
Yeah,
best
it's
view is the backside.
just something to think about.
A normal visitor probably doesn't realize they're heading off on running out there for a save,
A rescue.
a rescue. So
Well,
maybe an
she's stepping
oblique
off.
angle, something, or maybe they aren't both precisely looking at the same spot. I mean, the guy with the binoculars could be scanning a little bit, so he doesn't have to be.
Well, it looks like
It's a thought, although
Yeah.
we don't have say in any of our art things, either murals or anything. We can't really dictate what the art itself is, and we shouldn't. But I think the approach is great. I think I've given my thought on the location, and I'm sure they have their own.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that location. The base seems a little static. I mean, it's a it's a block of
Concrete.
I know it's concrete, but
Yeah.
it's meant to look like a sort of a boardwalk or a plank. It seems like it'd be nice if it was a little more organic.
Are you talking about the platform or the base underneath?
No, the platform itself.
Platform.
I mean,
Okay.
even if it was sort of morphing into sand or something, like it just seems a little stiff to me, because there's so much action that I don't know, it just doesn't feel right with the. And again, I don't know if I'm even supposed to comment on the design of it.
Oh, we love your comments. Of
But-
course.
It seems like if there was a little bit of movement to the platform, that they're on.
Would it be possible to pull up the sculptures that Greg had included of other cities?
Yeah, my first reaction was, are they on the
I
pier
understand where they're coming
with
from.
this flat base?
Right.
Tower.
It didn't read
You don't see
as
that.
a lifeguard tower,
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
one,
mainly because it's low to the ground.
that's right.
It's a piece of concrete now, so it didn't read like a tower.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think,
There's an organic base.
Yeah, the wave.
Center one.
Yeah.
So I see what you're saying, and it also increases forward movement because it's on an incline. And that's a more organic shape. I know what you mean. It can be so static at the bottom that it negates the movement.
Yeah, it feels stiff. I
Yeah.
mean, you get all this excitement and activity heading out, and then you've got this platform. And Scott made a good point. I mean, it's a lifeguard it's simulating a lifeguard tower, but I think it
But
would add.
it's not obvious that it's a tower.
No,
It's
yeah.
not. It's kind of inferred, but it's not obvious.
That to me, the base is not really the big thing. It's that platform that they're on.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That I think could be
Yeah,
more
I think
sort of integrated into the activity of the sculpture.
That sculpture in the center bottom there, you can almost draw a circle around the figure itself. And then when you look at the two bottom shapes, they're very much made out of rounded or geometric shapes, and then the bottom base is rounded. I see exactly what you're saying, which is closer to the shape and form of a wave than it is
Yeah, no, definitely.
saying something.
And
about
I like the
architecture.
fact that the plaque is also integrated, it looks like, in the base.
In the center one?
In the middle one, yeah.
Yeah, it is. I visited that before, but I believe it
Yeah, it
is.
does look like
It's right.
that.
It's
Because
integrated.
you've got this platform, and then you've got the base, and then you've got this plaque. I don't know, it seems like if they were all sort of connected and part of the design, it would be a much more
In Dana
exciting
Point, there's,
piece, I think.
I agree with that. In Dana Point, there's the Hydroger, and there's also Richard Henry Dana statue.
Yeah, over on the
Richard
other
Henry
side.
Dana sculpture, and the plaques are right in the sculpture, so it's not like something additional or added on, but it's just like, here, read about it, right, while you're looking at the central figures.
Well, and we don't want to add cost to this, but I also like that one where there was some grade change, so it looked like it was sort of embedded in the
The middle there, or the top one?
the top one in the
The top
middle.
one, yeah.
It just feels like it's more part of the site. Where this one looks like, we want to enhance and sort of focus on the activity. And in order to do that, I think it needs to be sort of more integrated into that location. And it's sort of an organic location anyway, even if you have the pavers. And the pavers don't need to be just a square block of pavers. I think they could sort of morph back into the sidewalk, and that would also make it a lot more interesting. So just consider everything there
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
part of the art.
Yeah, exactly, so that it fits into the environment.
Yeah.
I think that's a good comment, Greg, artistically.
Yeah.
But I love it. I think it's great. All my kids were junior lifeguards.
Yeah.
My son, I don't think he made the cut for San Clemente. I think he was a county lifeguard.
Lifeguard?
Yeah.
We're all part of one big family. It's all
Yes.
one big lifeguard family around the world.
Well, you got anything else, Scott?
You covered the size and height. I wanted to make sure it was at least human size.
Yes.
Because the one thing, it looks like a little small, but that wouldn't be appropriate.
There, Bill describes it as slightly larger than life. That's his terminology.
Okay, perfect. I'm just curious, do the female lifeguards use one-piece suits or two-piece suits? Can they use two-piece
It's up
now?
to them.
It's up, yeah.
Okay.
They use both. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you have a preference?
No, I have no preference. If it was all one-piece and I see two-piece, then that would
Yeah.
ring not true.
Yeah. No. It's
Most of them are in two pieces now,
Oh, okay.
both at the pool and at
But
the
I
beach.
think being historic and honoring
Yeah.
from the whole group, it might be good to be a little bit older looking. So one piece might be appropriate,
Yeah,
showing
it
what
should-
they used
yeah.
to do when.
Our first female lifeguard was hired in 1979, maybe.
Is that part of the ROP program? Are you counting that?
No, I'm just talking about when Sandy Gross was hired. Yeah. So, they were one pieces back then. Yeah, they were one pieces back then.
I mean, I think it looks good. It's modest.
No, that
It
was
doesn't
easy.
matter.
I just wanted it to be appropriate. But,
Yeah.
I agree with everything that's been said, and Bart, I agree with like your location, but I think it should be a little further from the sidewalk because if it's as
Oh, that's fine.
I think it is
a
going to
few feet
be
here or there.
really popular to go
Just
to,
a
and you
general
don't want the people kind of spilling over on the sidewalk. I mean, there's a lot of traffic foot traffic
Oh, yeah.
going back and forth. So I think it should be. I mean, I don't know what the right distance is. At least 20 feet from the sidewalk or something. I mean, people are going to go
I
to
want
it.
to make sure it doesn't tuck behind so cars coming down, because you aren't gonna be able to see it because the car's parked on the road. They come down all the way,
Yeah, you can see.
there they are, there.
Yeah, well, whether it's 10
And-
feet or
and I
30
don't
feet from
want-
the sidewalk,
yeah.
your eye is going to see it. I mean,
Yeah.
I just think that it shouldn't be too close to the sidewalk because I think it is going to get people. It's going to be a line for selfies, you know, and that's my opinion.
In that aerial photo, there's almost a hook shape at the bottom of the lawn, just like the boot of Italy. And it looks like it's just begging for a sculpture right in the. Could we see the aerial photo? Yeah, that one. You see at the bottom there where there's a white,
Yeah.
that sandy, right there where the arrow is. And so people could 360 all around that. The art events and booths that would be set up during the
That's
Ocean
right.
Festival would be out.
Guessing looking at the cars,
Yeah, it's
it's
kinda like a
probably
natural
18 to
promenade.
20
Yeah, it looks like a
wide.
natural location, just boom, made for it.
I've seen you standing there painting, Rick.
I have painted there,
No,
right there.
I've seen you there.
Yep.
We have a lot of history.
Samantha and I were talking about that when we were down there last week. Given the slope there and the fact that the drop off, I would think that if we want to have it there,
It has to be set back.
it would have to be set back, and we may have to think about a railing, some type of railing, just for
Yeah,
safety
'cause it
purposes.
does-
Well, if you chunk it into the grade, I think that might be
Yeah,
kind of a nice touch.
Yeah, that's true.
yeah. I'm just a little worried about people.
And another justification is it relates to the pier and the main lifeguard.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Closer.
Or
the
the
better.
further away, I
Yeah.
think it
No, I love it.
loses a little connection.
I love it.
But I like the idea of having room from the sidewalk. That's a good comment. But down in that corner is,
Yeah, it looks like a
Wonderful.
no-brainer.
and I'm really happy to see you guys doing this for the city and the lifeguards.
If you guys have any recommendations or feedback on lighting, based on your experience?
Well, the uplight is obvious
And
choice, and I don't think
it'd
a
be
flood.
controllable.
Yeah, I don't think a flood.
No, flood won't do it.
Because
should just
it's
be
a
the
glare
glow.
field.
And be controllable.
Yeah, and if it's recessed in the grade or in the platform, uplight is the best.
Okay.
It's the best solution.
When you say controllable, you mean in terms
Intensity.
Of intensity? Okay. All right.
Is there any one part of the, you talked about like Christ's toe being worn off and, the statue of John Harvard gets touched and people touch statues or sculptures in certain parts. Is there a part of it that's kind of intended to be where people will grab it or touch it or for good luck or anything like that? Has that been discussed?
My favorite is the bull on Wall Street. I make sure I always rub that one there, but it hasn't worked yet. But anyway, no, we haven't thought of that anything specifically in terms of like it being the spot. I
Probably
see
her foot.
her foot coming off the if we were to stay with a platform like that, yeah.
Or the
So
buoy?
we haven't had that discussion, no.
And what Bill has mentioned, I kind of offhand mentioned that because there's potential for bad behavior. And he goes, if the public adopts it, it'll, I design it the way I design it, and I harden it so that the whole thing's strong and let the public decide how we do that. That said, he's really excited about this idea. He's excited about all of his work that's over in the Waterman, but this concept of a cultural touchstone that, no, you don't put fences around it. That was a comment that came up at BP&R. No, that's not what it's here for. It's to be integrated in and be part of.
No, and I wasn't trying to dictate, what that might
No, I
be,
understand what
but
you're
I
saying.
thought that you guys, it's possible where you might want to create something that becomes the obvious spot to interact with. And I don't know that, it's not obvious to me right now.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought.
We could get a lifeguard
Yeah,
float
it did
and put it there on the deck. And
William
then we could
Dana
work
one
it.
down at Dana Point.
What's that?
The Dana Point Harbor
Uh-huh.
statue.
Yeah.
Um,
The Richard Henry Dana one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's huge.
Yeah, it's big.
And people go and sit on it and get their pictures taken. I'm not sure this is going to draw that same kind of buy it, but there's, no sitting on his lap or
Yeah.
anything. So I think, not sure how much contact it's actually going to get.
Oh, I could see even myself going in the middle and putting my arm around.
Yeah,
Of course, yeah,
You're
of
gonna
course.
go behind it,
Yeah.
but be
Of course.
between them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd work. That'd work.
I'd love to see it on
it.
someone's Christmas card.
Yeah,
you will.
Sitting around. I think we will.
Did you have any other?
No, I'm happy. I'm all for moving it along, and
Okay, hopefully that's a
Yeah,
little bit of
that's-
input.
It's
That's
helpful.
super.
No, really good thoughts. Thank you so much. Really appreciate
Our
it.
pleasure. We're
thank you for
excited.
doing it.
We're excited
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
get this thing going.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank
Well
you.
done. Thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah, thanks for your
Thanks so much.
presentation.
Samantha, thank you
I
so much.
will.
Zach,
Good luck
thank
with it
you.
all.
Thank you.
I'll just throw out for you.
Yeah.
It would have been great had they done something when they were looking at by the tunnel, when Pure Pride brought that in.
Yeah.
Having all that integrated would have just been,
Yeah, and
Spectacular.
I knew about this project and that project, but knew that they were different.
Well, this has a better chance of moving forward quicker.
Yes.
yeah, quicker for sure.
He said it, not me.
Because it slowed it down.
You didn't want to say that.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Have a great rest of the day.
Thank you so much.
Than's.
Nice to meet you guys. Thanks
Nice
for
to
doing
meet
all
you.
this.
Thank
You too, thank you.
Okay, I think we're a pretty light agenda here today,
Yeah.
so. No members of the audience here today, so. No written communication. Anyone
Adjournment, I'll do a move
for adjournment? Okay.
Move that we adjourn to the May 15th, 2024 meeting, 3 p.m., community room, Kai Nicosia.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned.